You got to be one of the dumbest ones.
Hey, Direct D, it looks like your boy got a raise.
13-2412A. 13-2412A. How you feeling? 13-2412A. 13-2412A. I'm quoting the laws. Quote me the laws you're talking about.
Welcome back. This is part 2 in my visit to the Department of Children's Services, aka DCS in Mesa, Arizona. In my first video, I went undercover as a person seeking public records and documenting the process. The DCS in Arizona has a horrible reputation. In fact, they have some of the worst statistics in the country. Arizona removes 28 children out of every 1,000, and that's a rate at about 50% above the national average. This is coming from a culture of child protective workers who disproportionately remove children of color and do things like wear t-shirts that say professional kidnappers. Now, the people who wore those shirts eventually got fired because a supervisor turned them in, but that same supervisor said that she was disciplined for refusing to force a young child into a group home. After reading the Google reviews and seeing all the news stories about how bad the DCS is, I had to go see it for myself. The staff immediately went on the defense, sealing their identities. They had some misconceptions about privacy rights. Ultimately, they trespassed me and called the cops to enforce it. You're going to want to stay tuned for this video to see what happens, and we are going to discuss some legalities, and I'll also show you the process to collect records and make complaints within the DCS. And you definitely want to stay tuned because Direct D's favorite cop will be making an appearance. So without further ado, here's part 2.
What?
You want to grab their name for me?
I'm going to wait for somebody else to get here just because I'd like to make sure someone's with you and I can tell somebody with them.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't want to stay or talk to anyone. I just want to get their names.
Do you want to go outside and sit instead?
What's that?
You want to go outside and sit instead of being in here?
I mean, not really. I just like to get their names.
And like I said, I would try to get their...
All right. Well, I'm just going to take off then, I guess. All right. Have a good day.
Right now they want you trespass, so you
Okay.
can just take off, okay? We got to get your name and information.
Oh, no, that's
You
okay.
want to go sit down here?
Am I being detained?
Yes, you are.
What am I being detained for?
Trespass.
Well, I'm leaving. I have an opportunity to leave.
No.
Yeah, that is how it works. It is how it works.
Okay, so right now you are being detained.
All right, can you get a supervisor, Evans?
I will gladly. Do you want to just take a seat right here then?
Thank you. I would rather not, so I'd rather just leave, but I can't leave?
No, I've already explained this to you. You're being lawful.
Oh, okay.
You're not choosing to listen to me.
I am.
Okay, so all it is just taking a seat and identifying yourself. Okay, just...
I'd rather not. I don't want to identify myself.
Okay, but you are detained right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Then at this point, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, and I demand to speak to a lawyer for any more questioning.
So you're not going to identify yourself?
Fifth Amendment, I'm remaining silent. Hi, sir.
I'm Officer Palmer with the Mesa Police Department, okay?
Yes, hello, sir.
We're recording, you're recording, that's fine. You're here on private property, they've asked you to leave how many times?
Yeah, I just want to leave now.
But how many times have they asked
Once.
you? Okay, so they've asked us because you're yelling at staff, yelling at people.
No.
That's what they're recording, and they asked us to trespass you.
Interesting. So I wanted to leave, and that was it.
Okay, but you're still trespassing here.
She made me stay.
Okay.
I tried to go.
Right. So
I left as soon as she told me, and they won't give me their names, nothing.
why would they give you their names?
Because I asked for it.
But why did you ask?
Because I want to make a complaint against
Who
them.
do you complain against? Who do you complain to?
Those guys. Yeah, because they work for the public. They have superiors that I make a complaint to over a private issue. So they asked me to leave finally, so I left, and I'm leaving. And so at this point, I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
That's not how it works. Under state law, under 13-2412A, you are required to give your true and lawful name to the police. When you're lawfully detained, you're here trespassing on private property, and we're here called by a victim of a crime. And why is that funny? Why is that funny? So under 13-2412A, if you don't give us your true and lawful name, you could be arrested and or cited for that crime itself in itself. That's a crime all in itself.
So are you telling me right now if I don't give you my name, then I'm going to be arrested?
Well, we're going to have a supervisor talk to you, but that's certainly a possibility, just for that. So do you wish to give us your true and lawful name?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and demand to speak to a lawyer. I want to speak to a lawyer first. I'm being detained, so it is, then yes.
Call your lawyer now, because here's the thing. That's not an incriminating statement, your true and lawful name. It is a crime to not give your true and lawful name. And I've explained to that at least multiple times. I've given you the statute. So if you want to go ahead and call your lawyer, go right ahead. Okay? But if you refuse, you use this Fifth Amendment thing, it doesn't apply in this case.
Are you going to arrest me?
Well,
if I don't?
I can't arrest you if you comply with the law.
Are you going to if I don't? Because I'd rather just stay here and finish my business.
Well, they've asked you to leave.
I know, and I'm trying to leave.
On the private property.
Yeah, I'm trying to leave.
Give us your name and information, we will give you a verbal trespass warning.
What'll happen if I don't?
You choose not to?
If I choose not to, what'll happen?
If Sergeant okays it, then you'll probably get arrested and go to jail for failing to identify yourself. And hindering your
I think we'll just have to wait for the sergeant then. All right.
At least we're all being polite about it.
Is this not Bank of America?
I don't think so. I don't know where that is anymore.
I could have sworn it was here.
Many years ago, I think they owned the building.
That's Sergeant Palmer and Deputy Evans. Sergeant Palmer, Deputy Evans.
Probably the north side of the building, but you can walk in from the south. There's no parking over there.
Yes, I was wondering, I was in there conducting business and doing my thing, and then they asked me to leave, and I was having a conversation with them about it, and then she came shortly. Actually, matter of fact, they asked me to leave right about the time she got here.
Okay.
And so I was getting ready to leave, and she said that I couldn't leave, that I was being detained, and that they wanted to do a formal trespass instead of just letting me go, where they got my name and stuff, and I just wanted to leave, and
Okay.
that was it.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of my understanding of it too, is that their business, it's their property, so that it basically looks like your house, your rules.
Right. Well, it's a little different though. I mean, it is a public entity. They'd serve the public, and there's a public lobby for the public to come and.
Sure, but
Absolutely.
still, I mean, there's a lot of businesses that serve the public, but it's their house, their rules. So if they don't want you there, it's just like if at the mall.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
They never told me to leave until just like we had an issue. We had a conflict about whether I could record or not. Where we had a discussion. It wasn't even like an argument, and they were discussing the laws that was on there. And I looked it up, and it was trespass laws. And that's where it wasn't even a confrontation. We just had a conversation.
Okay.
And then they never asked me to leave. But when they asked me to leave, it was right about the time she got in, and I obviously came out here. I was trying to leave, and she said that I can't.
Okay.
That was being detained. So here we are.
And that's kind of one of those like situations where the officers get called and they say, hey, we want the person officially trespassed. They're like, it's who's the person? Person in orange, a female.
I mean, with trespassing though, you can't even if it's a private business or anything, they can say, hey, you got to go, and they have to go, and that's sufficient.
Right. They after you've been given a lawful request to leave, you're required to leave. If you don't, and then my understanding is they did that, and then they called the police, and then we showed up, and they said
they were asking
that's just my understanding.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
I
you're
gotcha.
right. It's just that's my understanding. So that's why it went the way it did. So if you want to go, you're free to go. It's just now with the understanding that they have trespassed you.
Yeah, I don't want to come back here anyways. I can do my business online that I wanted to do now, so that's fine.
As long as we're, and obviously you recognize us and we'll recognize you. They will recognize you if you came back on the property.
Yeah, I don't want to be here. This isn't a place I want to go.
Absolutely. As long as we're all on the same page, it's easy.
All right.
All right. Hope you have a great day.
So I'm out of here. You too. Thank you. And so you guys kind of learned that you don't need to ID someone for officially.
Okay. Have a good one. Thank
All right. You too. Here you go, ma'am. Okay, so I want to put this out there right away. You don't always have to take the charge, okay? And it's not always about having a lawsuit and going that route. I was obviously there for a different purpose. And contrary to popular belief, yes, you can actually be trespassed from public property. And the reason why is because there hasn't been any type of case law to establish that it is a constitutional right to go into these public places that are not a traditional public forum and record. So we actually have to start establishing some case law. And I know that there's a few cases out there that have the potential to do that. But until then, if they want us to leave for no real reason, they can do it unless we change that. And going to jail is not fun. I've done it 3 times with trespassing charge in my activism. And at the end of the day, when you think about it, let's say you do go to jail, you get the charge dismissed, and then you file a federal lawsuit and you might get some money out of the deal. But where's the accountability? Where is the accountability? Like, what happens to these police officers? Absolutely nothing. And that's why I'm not too happy with going that route. I'm a very strong believer in the court of public opinion, and that's why I'm going to change the focus of my channel and have it be more for things like this where we're bringing stuff to the forefront. I'm fortunate enough to have a decent platform where I'm able to do that, and that's what I'd like to see, because I think it's about time these guys actually had some real accountability, and the only way that that's going to happen is through exposure. Now, I have some goals regarding this encounter here. The first one is to identify the ladies. The next one would be to make complaints. Then I want to establish that their policy is either wrong or unconstitutional. And once we're able to do that, I'd like to have the sign removed. That would encourage transparency. And then also I wanted to send the video to their superiors and get their feedback on it. Another thing that I'd like to do is address the security issue. And I'm going to get into that in a few minutes. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is address this sign. Now, it says that the building is reserved for clients of the DCS who have appointments and DCS business. Violators will be prosecuted pursuant to the statute here. And when I looked those up, they're actually trespassing statutes. And why do you think they would have trespassing statutes? Because there is no statute against recording in the public areas. But I wanted to verify that. So what I did is I went to the Arizona Department of Child Safety website. As soon as you go to the website, you just scroll all the way to the bottom. Now you're going to actually find a lot of information on this website here. In fact, they're pretty transparent on here. But you're going to go ahead and take this, and there's a line here that says DCS Policy and Procedure Manual. You can go ahead and click on that. It's going to take you to another website. Hit OK. And from here, you're going to take a look at the program policy and practice guidelines. It's really good and really in-depth. I actually read through this the other day. But you're going to go ahead. There's administrative policies, administrative directives, continue, go all the way down, down, down. And right here is if you see this email underneath the envelope there, it says policy unit. And what you want to do is, what I did is I emailed her. I just, we can't really click on that, but you can copy and paste it. And I'm sure that there's another way that you can access her information, but this is the email. And of course I'm going to have it in the description for you, so it's easy for you, so you don't have to do this. Here's what I sent. And this is their response. Pause to read. And this is coming directly from Kate Pennant, and she's the policy specialist. Now, the next thing I want to do is try to identify these ladies. I started out by doing a records request asking for all the staff that work at that particular office. What I'm also going to do is, once I figure out who their superior is, I'm going to send them pictures to identify the ladies. I'm going to send video about their conduct, and then I'm also going to send her the email that I got from the policy lady about the policy regarding recording, and see if she can take down that sign. And there's one more issue that I want to address. And I'm looking at the situation here, and I realize that the first contact with any type of security issues would be with the security officer. I don't know if you recall my interaction with her, but it was very kind of, I guess, slow, and she didn't really tell me anything or do anything. She didn't even call the police, which is good, but I don't think it's that she didn't call the police because she knew that I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I just think that maybe she's actually that incompetent, and she seems pretty slow. So I'm a little concerned about that. And in addition, the female officer there, you know, I feel some type of way. I like to keep my personal opinions to myself on a lot of things, but I just feel like in this situation, if I was somebody who had some bad intentions, and if I was an actual security threat, I know I could have taken both of them. Like, I literally could have taken both of them. And I'm a nice person and I don't fight. I'm not that type of person. But if I needed to, like, I just feel like I did not feel like anyone was superior over me. I didn't feel like anyone had authority. It was kind of crazy to me, and it felt weird, and it didn't feel right. And I mean, it felt good in the sense that it shouldn't be like that, but at the same time, it was like, if you're going to be in a position where you're a police officer and you're a security guard, you should be able to provide a lot more to your employer. So those are my thoughts on that. As far as he goes, well, y'all know DirectD is taking care of that, so I don't need to do anything. It's almost to the point where I feel bad for this guy, but then I remember who he is, and then I'm like, nah. Anyways, that's where I'm at. I will be sure to let you guys all know about any updates to this situation, and I really appreciate you guys for staying tuned.